Alrighty, welcome everyone. I'm Teeaboo and I am here for Jujutsu Kaisen Season 3, Episode 5, titled Fever, and I have no idea what that's going to be about, so the first portion of this video is going to be dedicated to a comment spotlight, because there are some banger comments about the last episode, and I feel like it would be doing a disservice to the whole process if I didn't go over them and investigate them a little bit, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to start off actually with a Reddit post that was shared and linked to me by Ali Casey in my Discord. And it is a post originally by Glittering Fabulous on the Jujutsu Kaisen subreddit, and it is titled The Goose and the Reed Proverb Behind the Meaning of Perfect Preparation. In Jujutsu Kaisen, the Perfect Preparation arc, chapters 148 through 158, adapted in anime S3 Ep 4, isn't just a cool title. In Japanese, it's
足をしやむ
a reference to the proverb, a goose holding a reed, meaning thoroughly prepared, leaving nothing to chance. The idea is, a goose carries a reed and drops it onto the water when it's exhausted, a tiny float so it can rest without sinking, and it has something to rely on during a long crossing. Not comfort, not safety, just the one thing that keeps it going. That proverb turns the entire arc into a punch to the throat, because Mai is the reed. JJK treats twins as one person split in two, meaning Maki can't fully become herself while Mai still exists. Mai understands it before anyone else does, so she makes the only move left. She burns the rest of her life and cursed energy to leave Maki a final weapon, an exact replica of the split soul katana, and in doing so, she removes the last chain holding Maki back. The preparation wasn't training, it was loss. It was Mai becoming the condition for Maki's awakening. And the irony is brutal. The Zenin clan thinks they're preparing to erase Maki and protect their status, while the real perfect preparation is Maki being forged into something unstoppable at the cost of her sister. Maki walks away with the blade and the power, but the panels don't feel triumphant. They feel empty. The goose can finally fly, but the reed doesn't make it to the other side. I think this is a beautiful post. It's a little bit poetic in its language, and I think that this topic lends itself to that sort of a vibe. There's such depth of loss and interpersonal relationship and sort of like connection after so many years of being unable to connect to each other, and in that last moment of connection, they only connect long enough to lose that connection and to lose each other forever. Maki only really reaches and understands her sister, it feels like, in those last moments, and then she's gone. And the only thing she leaves her with is the command, destroy it all, tear it all the fuck down. And so she does. And it's cathartic, but it's not pleasant. It's not joyous, yes? There's an element of it that is the music that plays during, which it turns out is sort of a reference to the Woohoo song from Kill Bill and makes a little bit of sense in that context as well. But there's a reveling in power that Maki has achieved, but it's offset. It's offset by a loss, by an emptiness. As she's destroying this swath of people, I can't help but feel vacant, empty. Yeah. And there's another comment that I want to move into that I think touches on that exact topic. Bleacher writes, I can't tell you how happy I am to hear you frame it this way because it is very close to how I view this entire episode and what it feels like everyone else has always missed. At least all the comments and reactions I've seen for this episode have given me the impression that most just see a spectacle, a hype fight sequence, and Maki's victory over the Zenin. Meanwhile, I can't help but zoom out and consider it wasteful on a certain level to have slaughtered this veritable army that we could theoretically have used to help deal with the culling game and Kenjaku. And while you can't well expect Maki to have made any other decision after what happened, it is nice to hear at least one other person call the whole affair bittersweet. This is an aspect that I didn't even think about. Maki was a member of these Zenin fighter organizations. That group of people, sorcerers and non-sorcerers, trained and powerful as they are, could have been valuable to us, could have been allies that we really needed moving into this genuine crisis that the entire world is undergoing. And instead, we wipe them from the face of the map and leave one of the core families of the Jujutsu sorcery world in tatters and gain very little from doing so. Yeah? We don't get the treasure trove of weapons and artifacts that we were looking for. We get Maki. And clearly, Maki is worth an army, but there's something that feels like a great loss here. Even if the Zenin clan was shit, even if they were the most insufferable people and had layers and layers of like patriarchal control and all sorts of bullshit woven into their policies and ways of doing things, Maki stood with the potential to change that, maybe. And to some extent, we could say chose to destroy it instead. And maybe that's the only option. Maybe there's no way to fix that kind of a power structure from the inside. Maybe that's the broad point that we're making here, is that it has to be burned to the ground and built back up from first principles. And maybe that's true. I kind of hope not. I kind of want to believe in the capacity of systems to be changed, but I can see the argument. The third comment I want to focus on comes from Olive for You. The "Have you no heart" said by Naoya followed by Maki's "No, she took it with her" is really fun considering what Mai really took with her. Throughout JJK, we see struggles, values, and personalities being reflected in techniques, such as Megami building his entire philosophy on the darkness of his past suffering and the unfairness he experienced, and just coincidentally using shadows as a medium. Gojo, who is leagues above the rest and his technique is literally being untouchable. Geto painfully swallows cursed spirits and struggles with swallowing the pain of being a sorcerer. Yaga is a teacher and his power is to strategically imbue his negativity onto beings of his own creation in order to make them act, and his masterpiece is a fully autonomous being, which is also what a teacher should aim to make their students into. You can do this with most characters, it's pretty funny. And then we get to Maki and Mai. It is a fact that we have to suffer and face hardship in order to triumph and feel bliss. Even in JJK, that's the case. We don't really have an example of a character who only has positive energy. Most only have negative, cursed energy. Even the positive energy that does exist in universe is reversed curse technique, which is created through the use of the negative energy. When Mai took all the cursed energy with her and died, she also narratively took away Maki's potential for positivity, her desire to create a new space for her sister, to reform a system, to affirm herself and build something good, which may be why she looks and acts so apathetic during the massacre. If this is a story about people applying their negativity toward fighting for what they believe, I wonder if the point of Maki, and also Toji, is to argue that stepping away from the negative energy potential within us might also grant us the power to achieve, but leaves us with no joy and some regret as a bonus. Maki did, in fact, lose her sister, her heart, the one person from this house that made her want to build something better. Mai was Maki's negativity, but also the reason behind her positivity, and now that she's gone, I agree. I think that this is a strong way of looking at things and a powerful, like, overview of the world that Gigi has built and the sort of metaphor of curses and cursed energy that he's woven into this story. Maki was Mai's negativity, but also the reason behind her positivity, but also her hope. Because in seeing that negativity, Maki saw an opportunity to improve things, right? For a person who is in danger, in despair, put down on, like, hurt. Now that she's gone, so is that hope for a better future for the Zenin, for Mai, who represented to her maybe the only salvageable part of the clan. Without her, nothing left to salvage. Destroy it all. Fair enough. Finally, Gonair 2 calls me out on a mistake that I made in interpretation of Maki's regrets at the end. Gonair writes, except she's not reaffirming her decision here. Quite the opposite. She's specifically responding to Mai's plea, why wouldn't you stay at the bottom with me, when she says, you were right, I'm sure that would have been the right choice for us. In other words, she now believes the right thing for her to have done, in hindsight, was to stay with the clan with Mai instead of rebelling against the system. I was thinking about this change in perspective from Maki while watching your review of 117 when you talked about the impressiveness of Maki's ability to mentally project into the future and choose a path that she would regret least, and the irony that the ostensibly right decision back in that episode has now been flipped on its head. Maki now has to carry the burden of her sister's death as a result of the path that she chose, a sense of regret so immense that she'd now rather have lived in servitude and abuse than suffer the fate that she's met. I think it adds an additional layer of tragedy to the whole affair. JJK has already shown us the pain of shouldering responsibility for death and suffering, and that applies to Maki and Mai even more directly than some others. But on top of that, this loss has retroactively stained one of the most heroic character-defining moments of Maki's life, her rebellion against the Zenin clan. That choice, which we as an audience have so much respect and praise for, is now ruined for her. Its place in her heart is forever tainted by shame and regret. She wishes she could take it back. We might reason ourselves through the what if, envision a world where Maki had indeed chosen to stay at the bottom with Mai and had been so miserable that she ends up reaching the same degree of regret that we see here, but that's an exercise far too cold and muddled in hypotheticals to ever bring Maki any solace. The tragic truth is, she'll never again truly be able to be proud of her noblest accomplishment. It has sullied that decision itself, and I did not understand it. All in all, I think that these comments reveal the depth and character that is woven into last episode of Jujutsu Kaisen, and by extension is woven into the substrate, the structure of this world, the way that the characters are developed, the way that Gigi seems to operate in terms of creating characters and thinking about who they are and what they represent and what they want and what they're going to struggle against. It's almost as though his characters are, it's a strange thought that I literally just had. It's almost as though his characters are created from a perspective of like, what is the ideological like frame that I want this character to be struggling against, and everything else about the character builds out from that. With Yuji, it might be something like watching people die in despair, right? Watching people have terrible deaths, and the uncomfortable truth that many, many people have terrible deaths. For Maki, it might be power structures and connection and independence and what you lose by cutting off the things that you're connected to and what you gain. Just now that I've realized that, it seems like a powerful framework for evaluating characters in JJK moving forward. We'll see if I actually remember to do that. In any case, I think this wraps our little comment spotlight here at the beginning. Maki's story so far is stunning, and it's put together with spectacular animation that makes it a spectacle, right? Makes it an incredible thing to watch. And as one of the commenters said, maybe we lose something in being overwhelmed by that beauty, but it also brings our attention to it and makes us want to rehash it and think about it over and over. And I think from that thinking over and over, that rumination, that rehashing, we come up with these new ideas and new perspectives. And I think that's one of the valuable challenges that anime gives us that allows us to expand ourselves in relation and in engagement with it. And I'm very grateful for an episode like this dealing with such difficult ideas as betrayal by parents, disconnecting yourself from a family unit that despises you and treats you terribly, and the ramifications that might have. Some of those themes are very close to my own experience of reality and have echoes and little ripples in terms of the way that I think about myself and the world around me. That kind of echo and ripple, change of self in engagement with thing and revelation of new ideas is like magic. It's like magic, and it's the magic of anime and the magic of art and the magic of storytelling, and I'm really glad to be experiencing a really cool piece of it. I've got to do a drawing today, and I really don't know what I'm going to do. So I'm going to take a minute and sort of like think about it, and then I'll pull down the camera and fast forward through it and stuff, and we'll have a drawing done, and then we'll get right into the episode. There we go. That's what I wanted. Maki with just the scars. Just took away all the other facial features. Don't need the lines to outline her face, don't need the eyes, don't need her nose, don't need her lips, don't need her mouth. Kept the hair because it frames things. But there you go. Blank, except for her scars. Carrying that and only that forward is what I've come up with for this image. I'm kind of overcome by it, like by something, by some emotion about this. Like she's walking through life wearing a mask that isn't really her, and just carrying these scars as her identity. Something like that. It saddens me. It feels really somber. Well, there's no time for somber and sad because I've got a fever, and the only prescription is another episode of Jujutsu Kaisen titled Fever. I have no idea what this episode is going to be about. However, I'm looking at the very first frame, and it's Baby Panda, and we're letterboxed, so we're in the past, and it's Baby Panda, and I still have no idea what this is about. Cool. There was a mention in the like preview portion where they say random lines, and somebody said Fight Club, and then somebody else said you don't talk about Fight Club. So I wonder what weird Fight Club references might be in this. It's been a while since I've seen Fight Club, but I feel like I know the movie pretty well, so I should catch references to it if there are any direct ones. I don't know. Fever. Okay, Maki's portion, I think, is done. I don't know where all of the warehouse full of weapons went that just disappeared. The Zenins took them somewhere and we never figured it out. So, her part of the plan is, like, done, I guess. Everybody else has different parts of the plan. Who are we going to jump to? What stories are we going to tell? What are they going to have to deal with? Where are we going? I don't know. Let's go find out what fever refers to. Saturday Night Fever? In this case, it's Friday Afternoon Fever. Welcome, everybody, to Friday Afternoon Fever. Doesn't quite have the same ring to it, does it? Okay, I'm going to stop blathering. Let's watch Jujutsu Kaisen Season 3, Episode 5. I've got it up and ready to go. There'll be 2 versions, picture-in-picture in the description, timer on YouTube, early access on the Patreon, subscribe while you're down there, and a beep beep timer to count you down. Let's go! I love doing that fast. Mmm. Mmm. His perfect, not autonomous. Oh yeah, he was imprisoned after the thing? To designate him as special grade? Aw. But he doesn't. That thing? These frames are crazy. Whose voice was that? Oh. Oh. Is that one of his creations? Probably. Mmm. Who's their mom? So are these also all autonomous? Oh. They're cute. Oh, shit. Oh. Oh, we're letting Panda free. Okay, thank you, Kusakabe. So is the work trip that he's about to go on? Who's the guy in the wheelchair? Girl. What? A thing with your information. He put a soul in that thing? Holy shit, that's a kid. Oy. What the fuck? It's not really him. Oh, he's almost crying. Okay, how are you making them, Yaga? Death? Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's here to kill him. Wow, everybody wants that power. I see, that's what it is. His protector is no longer here. Alright, well, let's fight then. If that's what we're gonna do. What was in there? Was there something in there? Whoa! Oh, shit! Uh-oh. Uh-oh. We just cut to the end of it? Oh, shit! Panda? So you need a real person. Panda! Right, because he's got the 3. Creates like a cursed engine on the inside, huh? Yeah. The ability? Oh, because now you have the information that everybody wants? He just died. Yeah, he cares about his father, dude. He's not trying to kill you. Yet. The play with light throughout this episode has been crazy. And blocking. You're just the knife. You're just the guillotine. It's his dad. That was a wild introduction. I take it back. We're ready to feel somber and sad again. Is this whole season tragedy? Yeah, probably. God damn, that's why there's all this emphasis on young Panda in the OP and stuff. It's like every character is having to go face off their internal biggest struggle in order to get prepared for the culling game. Actually, though, that's exactly what's happening. Noticing the mall is everywhere now. Fight Club. Who's Hakari Kinji? Fist fights? I know somebody who'd be good at fist fight. Yeah. Oh. Oh. So we're going into Fight Club. Yeah, we can't roll in with JJK uniforms. The old way. Eh. Yeah, you're the enemy. You're the feds. You're the narcs. Oh, he was brought up in the. Okay, I remember. Sure, try it. On the second rule. You got a second rule? Fair. Smart. I just want to see your boss. Yeah, let Megumi handle the smart stuff. Sweet. Oh, good. Oh, wait, what? Oh, he's the one fighting. Oh, okay. I thought he meant the big guy. Oh, he's gonna push for it. Negotiation. Nah. Nah, he knew what he was doing. They wanted you to fight. Cool. Color shift to the background. Yeah, you should chill. Whoa. That guardrail was cool. It's almost like this peppering of interesting things while we're doing dialogue. Sprinkled, peppered. Oh. Ah. That's boring. Mm. Mm-hmm. All about the customer. Mm-hmm. Aw, nah. Well, there you go. He's so fun. There's so many character walks in this episode. Ah, maybe. The stage? Oh, what up, my guy? Whoa! John Bobby! Hey, what's up, Panda? How you doing? Let's not kill each other, maybe. So why is Panda here? Hey, Panda, what are you doing here? What? That's Panda. Panda da. Okay, so somebody's watching it all. This has got to be Kinji, right? Oh, that's girl. Oh, it's those two. The Coal Sack Nebula. Moonbeer. Yeah. They're going hard, of course. It's a play fight. Yeah. Oh. It's WWE, baby. Oh, this is cool. We go into sort of Canada style insanity. Power bomb. Not quite. I feel like Kinji knows that this is fake. Oh, what just happened? Pink, pink. Nothing punchy da. Oh, oh. All right, he got the call in just like we needed. Mmm. Shadow Megumi's fucking terrifying. That's gotta be Kirara. Stars. Kira Kira. Oh, she's got stars in her eyes. Yeah, for real, my guy. No. Oh, third year Hoshi Kirara. Okay. Are you talking to the shadows? Yeah, there's a technique in play. An untouchability. It's gotta be Achilles' tortoise again or something like it. Wait, they said something about the other third year was also a guy? Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's actively terrible at it. Alright, cool. And we don't really know Kinji's technique either. Warped. Like fever hot? I mean, that's chill, bro. All right, here we are. Kind of a strange angle. Okay, I'll pass. We're really putting emphasis on this. Look at all my Lamborghinis pit by my Course 997. Oh. He's talking about like an urge or an internal. We're still doing this play with the characters. What is happening? I'm locked in on this scene. Again, it's like posturing. Gonna lean on it again? Ah. How are we doing this? I feel like I'm being hypnotized. He's moving again! Sokka. Pretends he doesn't know Gojo. We're just letting it keep ringing, dude. Yeah, that was a dangerous lie, dude. That was very dumb. Whoa! Whoa! Whoa, whoa, whoa! What were those? Oh, okay. The call already made it. Fever gone cold. Is the end of the episode? What the fuck? Okay, that was a trip. It actually feels good to have an episode that's like a little toned down compared to the last one. There's still so much to talk about in this one. I'm tempted to like jump into the next to get the continuation of this like turning into a fight, but there's no way. There's no way. There's too much to talk about here. How does the timing on Yaga's death work? Like, when did that happen? It's post Shibuya, obviously, but it's pre this, right? So it's in that in-between time. Damn. Cog. Cog in the machine? Okay. I have to make one search before I do literally anything else. Official manga profiles list sex as male, however, characters frequently use gender-neutral language or varying pronouns, so is trans or non-binary or something in that realm. Was just trying to figure that out, because, like, visual read was totally that's a girl, and then Panda said something about, Kirara being literally being a guy, and then I got confused. Wanted to put that into place. Okay, neat. I don't really care. Panda stuff. Intro to the episode is again deeply sad. Connection loss and a bunch of layers to it that I don't think I understand, but now in hindsight, I think make a lot of sense. We've got a woman who's lost her child, and Yaga has figured out a way to take a spirit, to take a dying person, and put them into one of his automatons, and it's just the information of them. He's quite clear that it's not quite the same thing, and it has to be kept totally secret, but it's close enough, right? It's close enough to be uh uh it's still a sentient person who believes itself to be that person, right? So there are some real, like, psychological ship of Theseus questions, right? If you take everything about a person and you replace it piece by piece, is it the same person? And it's like, yeah, kind of. You see the kid doing the thing that he did as a kid, and the mother recognizes him. It's not a lie, right? But it's not quite completely real either. And most importantly, it's looked at as very dangerous by Jujutsu Society. And now with Satoru gone, they want the skill. It seems to me like they used the premise of, like, oh, you could build your own army as a bullshit excuse to try to extract the skill from him, right? To extract the information about how it is done. But then he curses the principal with it, with the information, with the knowledge. How does that work? Like, because now other people will be after him for it? Let me know if you've got a different interpretation of that. I'd be really interested to hear what you think. There are some tonal things about this episode that are very different from previous episodes of JJK. There's an immense amount of near grayscale, like low saturation, very blacks and grays in backgrounds and stuff, and also throughout entire scenes. A very strange feeling compared to much of the rest of Jujutsu Kaisen. And there are a bunch of, I don't know how to put it, but, like, intercut little moments that felt really important and felt like they had an emotional impact on the way that I was interpreting the episode, even if I wasn't consciously registering what was flying by my eyes. Yeah? Like, I felt like there was some subliminal stuff going on. Not like words on screen to subliminally message me, be like, you love Panda, or anything dumb like that, but just, like, frames that had meaning, maybe like visual meaning to them, that were placed quickly and then jumped away from. And then there are all these scenes of characters just walking, just standing, just sitting, just talking, and they come to a climactic explosive head in the final scene, which I don't know how to describe. I absolutely don't know how to describe. Um, um, Okay, I know how to describe it. I know how to describe it because there's an Orwell quote about this. It's pretty famous. You've probably heard it before. It's Hitchcock, not Orwell. God damn it. Okay. What I think is happening in the final scene with Kinji and Yuta is that We know there's a bomb without knowing there's a bomb. With that in mind, I'm going to read this quote from Alfred Hitchcock. There is a distinct difference between suspense and surprise, and yet many pictures continually confuse the two. I'll explain what I mean. We are now having a very innocent little chat. Let us suppose that there is a bomb underneath the table between us. Nothing happens, and then all of a sudden, boom, there is an explosion. The public is surprised, but prior to this surprise, it has seen an absolutely ordinary scene of no special consequence. Now, let us take a suspense situation. The bomb is underneath the table, and the public knows it, probably because they have seen the anarchist place it there. The public is aware that the bomb is going to explode at 1 o'clock, and there is a clock in the decor. The public can see that it is 1:45. In these conditions, the same innocuous conversation becomes fascinating because the public is participating in the scene. The audience is longing to warn the characters on screen, you shouldn't be talking about such trivial matters. There's a bomb beneath you and it's about to explode. In the first case, we have given the public 15 seconds of surprise at the moment of the explosion. In the second, we have provided them with 15 minutes of suspense. The conclusion is that whenever possible, the public must be informed, except when the surprise is a twist, that is, when the unexpected ending is, in itself, the highlight of the story. Alfred Hitchcock. Okay, so you've got a scene with two characters talking, and there's a bomb under the table, and we've been shown the bomb, so we know that there's tension in the scene. What blows my mind about this scene is that we haven't been shown the bomb. We've been shown that there's an anarchist group that likes bombing buildings like these and is working in particular to infiltrate this building, right? Like, in some sense. Because we know that Megumi and Panda are doing an operation here and Yuji is in the middle of an intense operation. This is similar to scenes in, like, The Wire, where you've got an undercover cop in a place, and it can get really intense off the back of nothing because we're informed about the frame. We're informed that there is a bomb that would blow up, and in this case, the bomb is just, he realizes you're from JJK, yeah? And the phone is that as well. Whoa! Okay, so with that in mind, it's as though every element of the scene is built to tick me closer, to tick the clock closer to the bomb going off. To like, there's such care in the way that the characters are maneuvering themselves, and in the way that these lights sort of accent shadows on their clothing as they move ever so subtly. It's as though I'm in the mind of one of those body language experts on YouTube who's seeing every maneuver as like, oh, this indicates a total lack of clarity on what's going on in the situation. It's like, oh, this means he's lying. And without actually having any interpretable layer to it, because I don't think they're really like strongly interpretable as far as body language. Kinji's taking a pretty relaxed posture and moves slowly from relaxed posture to relaxed posture to relaxed posture, while Itadori takes a little bit less relaxed of postures, but is still moving very slowly and deliberately between them. But the two of them seem to sort of like dance between each other. I don't really have an interpretation frame to be like, I understand what they mean by the way that they're standing here, because it's not that way. But it feels like the whole scene is deeply embedded with meaning and fear. How the fuck? How in the fuck? Okay, let's go back to the beginning. Okay, so that I think covers my overview of the thing. Yaga, what is that thing? And then we have the drips in the faucet, which immediately snap me back to Geto in the shower. Yeah? How cool is that we've built this image so strongly that this takes me to Yuji washing his hands, and it takes me to Geto in the shower all at the same time. Bing, 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 bing. And all you had to do was one shot of a dirty sink dripping. That's pretty cool. It's created its own backdrop, its own landscape of elements to reference, yeah? God, it's freaking cool. Sustaining itself on its own cursed energy. And we get the three, now that I understand it, it's the three souls, sort of, the three spirits that are within Panda. If you can create a thing like that at will, you could easily have your own army. But he can't create a thing like that at will, right? It requires other souls, essentially. It requires a source of existing information. It can't just be created out of whole cloth. And it needs 3 people to make 1 person, right? It's a lot of loss. Answer me, Yaga. Okay, once we move from this frame to here, almost every scene past this has really fascinating blocking. We've got the bulletproof glass with the big, thick holes in it that are almost like opaque themselves, or like kaleidoscopes or telescopic lenses or something. They're there to let air through, but they block off our frame and create a really strange feeling. Do you truly not know? Correct. And then on the other side, he calls him Masamichi, and we meet this little kid. Now that I understand, it's a little kid. Densai da. Gosh, the introduction of that as a characteristic, as like an element or a trait, and then calling back to it later to show that it's the kid. Wow. Yes, you are. His care for these children is palpable, like immediately comes through, is deeply real. Gotta go for a work trip. This forest is protected by Tengen, and also your mom will come see you. He means the woman in the wheelchair? Okay, so he's protecting them, because if they were to go and live with the mom or anything like that, they'd be found out, and probably killed or destroyed because of it. So he's keeping them in Tengen's protected forest, and having the mother come and visit. Huh. You'll be alright without me.
Yeah.
It's a little tiny door. Like a door inside of a tree? Yeah. And then on the flip side, Kusakabe helping Panda out. Thank God. Let's go, Kusakabe. And I owe him a favor. The drip takes us back there. So that's what I meant about those like interspersed little scenes that almost subliminally add things. I'm not sure what that drip there adds. Put my finger on it, tell you what that meant. I don't really know, but it added something. It connected something to something else, and I'm not sure how. So this is the introduction. The first time? The first success? That thing is not your nephew. So they're brother and sister, and it's her daughter, and she's been totally distraught after losing him. It's just something with your nephew's information. He interprets that this way. Wait, is that Kusakabe? I actually have to check. The answer is yes, that is Kusakabe. So this is what he owes him the favor for. He saved his nephew, sort of. Oh. My little sister can no longer live. Yeah, she's so gone. And then she awakens. I had a feeling. Wow, this is powerful. This tie together is really potent. There are 3 tatami mats stacked together. Same name. Can't be made public. You'll have to just visit. Okay, I gotta say, this moment... Oh yeah, the lollipop should have given it away. He says, I'm sorry. And then Kusakabe's voice actor has this cry in his voice. What? Fuck. That, like, got me. Can't thank you enough. Thank you. Snap to. Here. Whoa, there's something so strange about this scene with the moths, and there's the way that they've done the scattering halo of light around this. It's all sketchy. It's got like lines to it as though it's been scraped or scratched. Ominous, dark, deadly. Going without your cursed corpses to see your son. To see Panda, right? That's his son, right? You've been sentenced to death. The only way to save your life is to give up the information, disclose how you created them. And it's obvious now that he almost needs to die with this secret. People are going to take it and use it to create an army. You all sure grew bold. Fuck. God, that's not a good thing to see. We just snap to the end of the thing. It's already over. And he tells him, use the body's information to reproduce the souls. Then place that soul into the cursed corpse. And you need 3. To create autonomous ones, truly autonomous ones, they have to be 3 highly compatible souls. Okay, I actually have a question about this. I saw the 3 tatami mats and I said that's the 3 of them, mother, father, and kid, but that's actually wrong here, isn't it? These are 3 children's tatami mats. And he's the one remaining out of the 3. Right? For him to be a fully autonomous cursed object person, that takes 3. So what happened to the other 2? I think that's the correct interpretation here, right? Fuck. That means that these creatures can only be created out of great losses. And it's not one-to-one. You're like compressing, you're losing. Fuck. Why wouldn't you tell me? Why wouldn't you reveal it sooner? It's a curse. A curse from me to you, now you know. And he dies smiling, almost. And then Panda's here. Just moments too late. And disinterested in fighting. He's interested in his father. Why don't you fight? Do you not hate me? Pandas aren't bound by things like that. And there wasn't any bad blood. You're just the knife. Wasn't even a choice that you made. You're just acting as a cog. Huh. Funny that we bring that up in this episode when it'll be the next episode's title. Huh. But even pandas cry. Dead moths brought to the flame. Because we started this scene with the moths circling around the fire and associating that with the guy with the face mask. Now we have a broken moth. I'm not sure. And then water drips upon it, yeah? Raindrop? There's meaning to it. It's woven with stuff, but I don't know what it means. I'd love if anybody has any, like, in-depth interpretations, or if there are any, like, parables or things that are being woven in here. I wouldn't be surprised. So much of the ED starts making sense at this point. Whole bunch of pieces of the ED have begun to make a lot of sense at this point. Exciting. And then there are things that do not make sense yet, and that's also exciting. Okay, so the next, like, 5 minutes, maybe even a little bit more, and some woven pieces that happen a bit later, are like an immense amount of exposition. Some of it's literally from last episode, or from the exposition episode, and some of it's done very differently. But all of it happens with them just, like, walking around and just, like, taking their shirts off and putting on new clothes and stuff, which is all pretty normal at first, and then it gets really weird later in the episode. It gets, like, really interesting, really slow-paced, really impactful, really, I don't know, like, really enjoyable to watch, despite the characters literally just talking through what they're going to do next. I really liked it. Okay, so he's gonna view us as a narcs. We definitely gotta get in there, but... So we face down the big muscle guys, and then make our way through. That scumbag who was all talk. I like the dynamic of Yuji realizing that Megumi should take the reins here. It's like, alright, Megumi, you take this, you got it. Nah, you're not even worth betting on. Crazy. Okay, here's where we kick into gear, right? A lot of normal walking scenes that then shift, right? Like this scene, normal side-by-side walking scene, and then Itadori, like, angles off. And that's really weird. It's, like, fine. Nothing wrong with it exactly, but it's not what I expected from the scene. Does that make sense? It's, like, weird to have characters oriented in this one angle, and one of them just moves without a cut in between or any sort of shift to the camera. It's weird. It shouldn't be, probably. Especially in film, it wouldn't be weird. But in animation, this is weird. Because when we do these framed, like, side-by-side walking against the parallaxed background sort of shots, we never move them. You never move them. And yet we do. And then we hold this shot, and we do it in, like, almost slow-mo. Yeah? And then moments later, Itadori is walking along the guardrails, and we do this warp to the guardrails that shows them three-dimensionally moving past the camera. And it's like a fascinating moment that he interacts with. And we're Just doing all these goddamned amazing cool poses and little weird walk cycles, and it's near slow-mo. We're choosing strange angles for the whole thing. I was fascinated by this whole set of sequences. And there's nothing that I can put my finger on that's like, these stand out for any good reason. Why do they stand out to me so much? Because they really do. Because they really, really do. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's that it's almost real? Yeah? Like, yeah, we just gotta explain this to each other, talk each other through this, understand these concepts, and we're just sort of walking slowly with your friend, talking stuff through. I can see these as manga panels, right? Because it's just the characters moving through different locations with big panels of text as they talk about this stuff, which means filling the whole space with time of them just walking, which sucks. But this doesn't suck. This is awesome. How? How is like 5 minutes of characters literally just walking awesome? I don't know. Reflection's cool. There were a lot of interesting posters. They were like of fighters, I guess. Oh, it's Panda. Holy shit, it's Panda. He's like the fighter. I wonder if there are any other people that we recognize or anything like that. I don't know. That's your opponent. Yeah, awesome. Okay, so the fight is insane because it's a joke fight. It's WWE, and woven through the entire thing is this hilarious aspect of like tap, which is really enjoyable to watch. It took all of the fight possibility and capacity that JJK has to ramp action up to the tens and kept making a repeated joke about it in a way that I think landed every single time. I really liked it. Yuji Itadori! Da! And this introduces us to the viewing and monitoring room, the fact that he's watching over everything, the dynamic between him and Kirara, the whole shebang. What's wrong, Kin-chan? There's no thrill in betting on a sure win. Nobody's gonna beat Panda. I wouldn't be so sure. They're doing a pretty good job. They're having a real fight. And they're just talking. Tap. It's cool. It's really cool. I want to put emphasis. There's a lot of cool stuff in here, but I really want to put emphasis on what I'll call, it's not quite an accurate representation, but I'll call the Kaneda style in the air sequence. Because we leap up into the air to do this thing. We've got all these flashing, flaring lights in all directions, and lots of warping, and like, wow. Yeah, you know what? No, I'm a stick with it. Kaneda style is correct, but this is like Kaneda style plus plus plus. Oh, yeah. That's insane. You're undercover here, right? Oh, look at that. All the way back here, dink, donk. Super reminiscent of some of the elements of the second Dungeon Meshi OP. Yeah? Where we get this, like, space creation between two characters moving around each other in void, right? Here we're doing something very similar. It's this white-yellow void around everything, and the characters' interactions and movements, you know, in relation to one another. Oh, look at that! Look at his arm get whipped out like that. Truly turned into a bubble. The whole arm section, and then this arm comes down. Throwing him. What a face! And then immediately after this sort of boom, bam! And then down to the ground, and we both land perfectly. Oh yeah, there's a great example of how he sort of starfishes his way down here. Alright, I'm gonna break format, and I'm gonna go look at Sakaguboru immediately to determine who is responsible for that cut, because what the fuck? Ah, it is one of the current great users of Wakame Shadows and Kaneda Light Flares, Yoto. Hell yeah. Oh, it's all rotoed. That's why it looks like that. That's why that whole scene in the in the control room looks like that. It's all rotoscoped. It's all rotoscoped off of episode director Masaomi Ando, who played Hakari, and series director Shota Goshizono played Yuji for the rotoscope reference. So when we're watching that cut, which is not loading on Sakagaburu, unfortunately, but we'll get there. When we're watching that cut, we're watching Shota Goshizono play Yuji, and we're watching the episode director Masaomi Ando play Hakari. In his own words, they played those parts because he is fat and Goso is skinny. Ha! That's insane. And finally, it makes sense why that feels so completely distinct. Okay. I wonder if they wore costumes, like clothing that would match. I don't know. The best bout in my career! What is this, like, spiral? Oh yeah, wait, he gets clocked, and he does a full spin up to the top of his head. This is a reference to something. This is a joke. I must know. It's a James Wan-ism, like in the Fast and the Furious movies. I can't show you this clip. It's not quite the same, but The Rock grabs Jason Statham and goes like, ah, and smashes him into the ground, and the camera does the same spinning follow. But I feel like I've seen that actual spin. Now I'll just show it to you. Here. Spin. I wonder if there's a more direct reference to that. I don't really know. Tap. Tap. It's so much fun that you get these characters that fight seriously all the time to be orchestrating their own coolest bout. It's really fun. It's really fun. It makes the episode feel lighter, too. Okay, Megumi just sort of woof. Might be the scariest character. Jesus fucking Christ, man. So for some reason, Kirara thinks that it's dumb when he says strike while the iron's hot. Is there a particular idiom that he's using in Japanese that's more dumb than strike when the iron's hot? Because that's like a reasonable idiom to use. That's so dumb, cut it out. I wonder, I don't know. Haven't felt so alive since my ex maxed out my credit cards. Goes crazy. Goes crazy. Night scenes. Darkness, simple, empty. But, like, look at the depth of the landscape. It goes back so far, and we've got these layers of light coming through the trees, this moonlight, and of course, it's Megumi operating in those shadows. Oh, that's really cool. We get some hints about the nature of Kirara's cursed technique. Curious about that. We'll have to figure it out. Seems like Satoru's. Yep, a guy. Well, that may have changed. I focused on being a circus pan instead of pushing too far. Yeah, he's been running this operation solo, so it's good to have some other people down on it. It really does have the elements of like a heist movie almost, or like an infiltration, or like an undercover cop investigation, like The Wire or something like that. It's really cool. They'll be a good match, but he sucks at lying. So we'll see how it goes. I'll take control quickly. Hopefully nothing is wrong. Nothing goes wrong, but something will. Okay. Yu-chan! It's been a while since he's been this hot. I love it when he's hot, when he has a fever. It's like an impulse, like an urge is what it's being placed as. Like a desire to do something, that energy that makes you do. For Kin-chan, it's about gambling. It's about doing something wrong, right? Or taking a risk almost, or getting into a fight or something. Okay. Open scene. How long is this scene? 1813. 2201. It's a 4-minute scene. The camera never moves. Never budges. Except, like, right after this. What the fuck is this technique? No idea. We only get to see it for a second. It's all this tense conversation, and it's all accented and elevated by these slow, hyper-detailed, hyper-accurate movements by the characters. So that's Shotoko Shizono slowly walking forward, taking a stance, acting and operating like he's Itadori. And that's why we've got this perfect shadowing. It's like the thing that stands out the most, I think. The characters move meticulously, and the shadows on them move frame by frame exactly. Like that. There's something different when people draw what they believe the shadows will look like versus drawing what they actually are on the person. It's different. I'm always reminded, it's really interesting. I'm always reminded of a project that I was given in an art class. This was in ninth grade. I took an art class, and our teacher gave us a project that was to go and do a certain number of like life drawings, a certain number of figure drawings of real people. And so we had to actually ask real people in our environment to like pose for us. And they were meant to be very sketchy, broad figure drawings, right? Like just bare charcoal lines on paper, not very detailed at all. Um, but he had us do this, and he was very insistent. The one thing that you're not allowed to do is go find photos and use those pictures as your reference points for this. They must be real people in your environment. And everybody was like, why? And he said, it's always different. When you look at and draw from a photo, it's always different. It's not the way that you see, it's the way that the camera sees. That's been represented onto the paper. And if you draw from it, it will be different. It is. It is. But I didn't believe him. So what I did was I got my roommates to do poses for me, and I drew out the number that I needed for the thing. Let's say, shit. Okay, I'm soaking up some spilled tea now. Let's say it was 5. I don't really remember. I did the requisite number of drawings. I did 5, and then I did one more. I went and I found a near pornographic picture of a girl in a pose that I thought was like reasonable. Was like, okay, this is the kind of pose that somebody might make if I asked them to pose for me, and they just like posed on a couch. And I found an image that I felt like was from a perspective with a camera lens that like I, I wasn't able to tell the difference. I couldn't tell that this was a picture that I had drawn from. I compared it to the other ones. I'm like, it's the same. Okay. So I took 4 of the correctly done drawings, and into them I inserted the one that was a photo. He immediately clocked it. Immediately, instantly. He was like, did you draw this one from a picture? I was like, no, of course not. It's just the same models as before. He's like, are you lying to me? I'm like, yes, I am. And I have the 5th one. How did you know? It's always different, was what he said. It's always different. So there's like that element gets woven in the first place. The way that we imagine things to be, the way that we see them when they're really there and interpret the light and all of those things gets changed dramatically when it goes through a camera. When you're rotoing, you're taking a video of a frame, right? And then you're drawing over it or drawing very close approximations of what is on it. And what comes through as a drawing done from photographs is put in sequence to be a video is dramatically different from what we animate when we try to animate something off the dome. But to put my finger on why or how, I don't know. But it creates this like the hair on the back of your neck stands up and you're like, there's something weird going on here. What's going on? Why is Chika Fujiwara moving with all the smoothness and this is rotoed. This is a real person that's been transformified into anime by humans with eyes and pens and paper and a camera. But the introduction of that camera to that scene changes everything. Because if they had rotoed this by having having the 2 people act out their thing and doing like keyframe sketches of where they were in individual elements and individual moments during this interaction, and then animated the whole thing through, it would be so completely different. Less detailed in some ways, more in others. Completely different. As is, it's kind of stunning. It's kind of stunning. It's a 4-minute, completely rotoscoped scene of 2 characters interacting, speaking, and like there's this constant building tension dynamic that feels like there's a bomb under that coffee table and we know it's going to go off soon. Yet we have not been told that there is a bomb. We're just shown the scene. And the scene tells us that. In context of the rest of the episode, knowing the operation is going on, the scene is like, hey, there's a bomb ticking. Just in the scene, it gives that to me. I think. Maybe it is the context more than the scene itself, but I feel like the scene adds a whole lot to it. He starts off with a lie to him, with like a test almost. I'll give you all the information you need to make lots and lots of money. All you have to do is pay me some money. Classic scamming stuff, right? Ah, good. So we're already in this element of like lying to each other. Fucking crazy. It's all because of fever. And then he presents this worldview. The swindler and the deceived are both in a fever to change their lives. It's not about the actual practical moves being made. It's about this pressure, this heat. Oh, I want to mention that heat is literally energy. It's literally movement, right? It's particles moving, it's stuff vibrating, it's movement, right? So there's something that's very right on in terms of the psychological physics here. It's like that physical energy that makes you need to do something rash or do something crazy to change your life is what he's all about. It's what he's focused on. And he's focused on controlling and manipulating it population wide. Pretty interesting. But we've also heard from Kirara that it is a fundamental aspect of how he is, that he gets hot, that he gets a fever, and later he gets frigid, right? He gets cold. I wonder if that'll be his cursed technique. Oh my gosh. Just these little things, like the little turn. Oh, now that I understand that it's all roted, it makes perfect sense. Dropping back into the sea. Now, even with the fact that it's rotoed, there's something that's a layer beyond that, which is the acting that Shotoko Shizono and Ando are doing in this scene is very careful, isn't it? It's very careful. I wish we had the videotape of them actually doing it. That would be fucking great. That would be great. Um, Slow, deliberate. If I were to guess what cues they were working off of internally, it's like move slowly. Move deliberately. For Kinji, move like you're in control of the situation, right? He shifts himself into these wide open poses. He shifts himself into these like forward leaning postures sometimes, but it's all just based on where he is in his conversational flow. He's not bothered. And even when the phone goes off, at which point we learn later he's already clued in. He knows that something is wrong as soon as the phone goes off. And so that whole scene that goes after it, as it gets more and more uncomfortable because he's not picking up the phone because he doesn't need to. He's already got the information. The call itself is the message. He still like gets up and goes and gets a drink and does all these slow, methodical things. Absolutely unbothered. Unshakable. The most direct way? Gambling. Life is a gamble. But everyone gambles. What people hate isn't gambling, it's losing and being ruined. Don't some people just want to live a peaceful life? I don't know anybody like that. I love the fever. So from his worldview, nobody wants a peaceful life. Everybody wants to gamble. It's just a matter of how much fever they've got going on right now and whether they're in the grips of it. And if they are, they're manipulable, easily swindleable, right? But also, the swindler in that moment is in the grips of fever too. So perhaps there's this sense of wanting to like understand fever and yet be detached from it, not bound by it, but able to control it. Maybe. Fever is gambling, gambling is life, and love is control. Okay? Someday I want to love control this country's fever, life, through my fight club. Okay? Got a chance to expand. I'll make them recognize. And I need a strong piece on the board, and that could be you. Want to get high on my fever? Boss, I wonder what he's about to say here. It's unclear because the phone rings. They both note it, look at it. Yuji sort of looks at him. What are you gonna do? He gets up to go get a drink. Hey, Itadori wants something to drink? Yeah, sure, anything but liquor. And he keeps the banter going. Did you know Gojo Satoru can't hold his liquor either? And this is another test. Huh? Who's Gojo? Huh? Stupid. Stupid. There isn't a single sorcerer who hasn't heard of Gojo Satoru. Why did you play dumb? Were you? And he takes the time to drink his drink in the middle of this sentence. How do you demonstrate, like, I am totally nonchalant and feel like you are no danger to me and I'm completely in power in this situation? Have him ask half the question, fully take a sip of his drink, and then finish the question that incites violence. Sent by Jujutsu Tech? Wow! I mean, he starts backing up almost as though, like, he's already under some kind of threat, as though he sees the Kursa technique or something. It's unclear. He starts to move back from him. So he throws the glass, listen, and then he starts manifesting these panels. Windows? Doors? Train doors? I think so, maybe. And he's like trying to crush him with them. He gets him. And then they disappear. Gets him with the knee. So at this point, we've probably broken out of Roto. Crazy impact frames. That feels like it should have severed Yuji's head, but I'm not sure how his damn technique works. Yeah? Like, that landed, and then Yuji was out of it. How does his technique work? I don't know. When I get a call, something's wrong. I think this is probably rotoed. No, it doesn't look like it. It could be. I don't know. Listen to me. Hell no. Now I've gone cold. You've killed my vibe, man. Okay, this is a very strange episode, yeah? Yeah. But for gluing two fights together, which is what I think it's kind of doing. Two sets of fights, Maki's whole experience, and then the set of fights that we're going to engage with here, because we got a lot of moving parts. We've got Big Dude from down below, we've got Kirara with an unknown technique, we've got Panda, we've got Megami, and we've got Kinji, as well as anybody else who operates in this organization and he can call on quickly to fight for him. So this feels like it's going to be a multifaceted battle that's going to jump all over the place and answer our questions and do a lot of weird shit. I'm really excited to see that. This episode, to glue it together, to give us lots of information that places us, that moves us from one to the other, to set up this tension, this heist narrative almost, this infiltration story. That's fun. That's cool. It's, beyond anything, a unique episode of animation. I have never seen anything like multiple episodes of this season of Jujutsu Kaisen so far, and what baffles me is that they are in different directions. Yeah? Whether it's crazy action insanity, or low-key, dark, infiltration, awkwardness, and tension building, suspense. Goshizona's really got some range. And so does the rest of the staff, clearly. Wow. What a fun episode. I'm going to say thank you so much for watching this week's episode of Jujutsu Kaisen with me. I hope you enjoyed. Actually, I should look at Sakugabura. What am I doing? I only looked at the top cut. Okay, we'll grab just a few more. This is unfortunately Artist Unknown. But man, I found it really fascinating. This continues that Artist Unknown and also continues a lot of those slow-moving moments. Oh, jumping around is Toshiyuki Sato. Holy perfect loop! Oh, hell yeah! Oh, wow! It really is! Oh, wow! Well, that's so fun. This is O'Brien Benny for the Bam Bam Boom Bam. Bam 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 Bam. That's really cool. Alright, O'Brien. It's like a more squared way of drawing Wakame shadows, yeah. Okay, here's that Yoto cut. I mean, we looked through a bunch of it, but it's absolutely bonkers. And then Xuanjing Wang, with all of the rotoscoping and the whole shebang, yeah. Ando confirmed this entire long cut's 1,000+ Ganga frames were handled by one animator. Jesus. Well, there's our Sakagabura portion, and this time I will actually end here. Thank you so much for watching this week's episode of Jujutsu Kaisen. I hope to catch you in the next one. It'll be available on the Patreon when this one goes live on YouTube. Otherwise, I'll see you right here on YouTube for the next one next week. Much love. Peace.